Hi, my name is Frances Fox, and I'm a trained remote viewer. Um, all my psychic skills have been trained and watched and statistically analyzed. I also was apparently born from a family that has been known throughout history as being psychic, and I've never 100% embraced that information because I haven't had a way of validating it, even though certainly the people that owned me, handled me, used me all felt that that was the case. And I wouldn't even dare try to find out what my heritage is, being it that now not now, I knew that from before, but now the companies that handle uh, when you want to find out your ancestry, the companies that handle that have been either bought or were always controlled by people who know more about our DNA than we do and are using it for something. So I'm going to say a little interesting story now, and then I'll get into the hurricanes, esoteric secrets about hurricanes and what we did yesterday. The story going back to your ancestry and sending a sample of your DNA to the companies. I was friends with a shaman, and this tribe very bright. He knew several languages, and he was born very high up on a mountain. And never went to the kind of school that but he very very bright, just like the monks. They don't go to the kind of schools we go to, but some of them that travel know several languages. Anyway, so he had explained to me that the Smithsonian had gone to that mountain, and that particular mountain in that country has four different tribes. And his tribe was the one that lived in the highest section of the mountain. And that the Smithsonian had gone to the mountain and had taken DNA samples from their children. And they had never asked for permission, which apparently they would have never given. And they found out about it. And the leaders of that tribe got on an airplane, went to Washington, D.C., and demanded to have their DNA given back. They did not want the Smithsonians to have a copy. A copy, no, to have their DNA. There's so many conspiracy things being unraveled and exposed that you know what? Pretty soon, I am going to be considered a respectable person rather than a total flake, a person who's completely lost it, person that must obviously be making up all sorts of stories, a person that had to get psychological help from a psychiatrist that specializes in victims of cult, victims of military mind control. I mean, obviously, a person like that is sick. You know what? Um, a lot of people are going to feel very embarrassed and very ashamed. And a lot of people are going to get really paranoid when they start seeing that this stuff that they scoffed at ends up being true. So, what are they doing with the DNA? Smithsonians, we're supposed to respect respectable institutions that sold themselves? Oh, they got funding. It's that whole funding thing. You know, one of the reasons I'm actually able to talk, one of the reasons, because there's multiple reasons why I'm able to talk. The main one is I have to share this information. But another reason is nobody pays my bills. I never got a penny from the government. I worked for them for free. I still get some calls with stuff that I am able to see that's advantageous that we all, you know, whatever. But nobody pays my bills. I pay my bills. I work and I pay my bills. And nobody can say, we're not going to give you any more money, no more checks. Because there was never a single check. There was never a penny. You know what? That's not true. I remember when I was being presented to a very important person in politics, but not in this country. And that person apparently, like, should I be telling this story? I'm going to finish telling the story. I'm sure my family will be cringing. Well, whatever. They thought it was crazy. Now they can cringe because they know it's. So this particular person liked the kind of females that would wear the mini skirts and the high heels and the makeup from here until tomorrow and the hair. So they thought that maybe my handlers, maybe I should wear at least some more makeup. So they gave me money to buy makeup. That is the only time in since I was born that I remember them handing me some money. And now let's talk about taking my money. And I'm going to say this, and they can come after me if they want. But I'm having problems with a bank where even my stockbroker is saying, this is like really weird. What's going on here? Of course, it's in Miami. The Cuban political mafia always had a hand in my bank accounts. So if the money doesn't show up, and it's a ton of money, because I'm going to invest more in Tesla, I don't know what happened today. I don't care what happened today. I know what's going to happen in the future. Okay? So if the money doesn't show up and things don't get rectified, I will be saying the name of the bank that's associated and the business that's associated with it. And it wasn't $10. So these people have operated with absolutely no restrictions. So it's possible that I was supposed to have been paid. Maybe not me, because I was never paid. And actually, I was given an explanation as to why I was never paid. And the first words were track the money. Anytime you want to know something, just track the money and you'll find it. And they said, we can't have that. We can't pay you because they can start to track the money. Oh, yeah, okay. They would send me on trips and I would have to pay the airfare and the hotels. I feel like crying. Not fair. But I'm not the only person. Not the only person that's been through this. So you know what, Trump? You have to win. Not because I'm political in that sense. You have to win because apparently you are on the right side of the line having to do with abusing people in 1,000 different ways. DNA, bank accounts. Uh, I cannot order from, where do you order food online? From the grocery store? Instacart. And you guys need to know this. Black magic is real. It's used. And in Miami more. We have this group, and I'm Cuban. I'm proud of being Cuban. This is a political Cuban mafia group associated with the Bay of Pigs. Got it? So I ordered Instacart, and they would intercept it at some point. Of course, my phones were tapped. And they would pay the person that is supposed to be delivering it to me, and they would take the food and make it disappear and then do all the little black magic on them. And then it would get delivered to my house. And when you do that, whether it's the Cuban political mafia or it's a regular Santero, whatever, you don't really know. Which brings me to the next thing that I'm going to say, and then we're going to get to the interesting stuff, which is the hurricane. There is a plan now to take me and maybe a family member down through putting poison in our food. So I'm just letting you know, and you already know Rene de Villegas' name, lives on 63rd Court in Miami. He's got a daughter who's a lawyer. I have said this publicly for at least 2 or 3 years. Nobody's ever come back after me with a lawsuit or with a stop and cease and desist. Nobody. And I think he is holding, may have spent it already, checks that should have gone to people like me, okay, that had to do whatever, but at least there was compensation. I never got a penny. You could track me all you want. And I think he held up my. Anyway, so if anything happens to anybody in my family here on the way to their colleges, when they're drinking in bars with their friends, okay, you have a name. And then you just start to track him and the people around them. And I forgot, you should look into it. I'm not accusing them of anything, but I do think maybe some supervision might be good, which is Maureen, and her spouse, which is his nickname is Apin, and his name is Alvaro Fernandez. She works for Homeland Security. So you could, anything happens, just start to ask her some questions because maybe she might be able to help shine some light on this situation, or her husband, even though he's a scaredy cat. But he does facilitate. So I actually wasn't going to talk about any of this stuff. So let's go get down to the good stuff. I'm going to put a link up here, which is a link. And when I start to get this feeling, there's a reason. I think that we need to start doing purifications on the United States as a country. The bad guys, they seem to be getting identified. The guy that would want all this to be revealed, which is Trump, appears like he's going to be elected. Well, where do we go from here? We sit and fan ourselves as we go into the light, or the dark gets diminished. I'm not sure the bad guys are ready to give up. So I suggest that energetically you guys do what we did with the hurricane, which we put on particular mantra music, and we did mantras, and we did a really good job. But I'm going to tell you about that, the interesting stuff that came up. This particular link that I have posted here has a map of the United States, and on top of it is a mantra music composed first by Mateo Cuaron, and it is pink medusas, and the frequencies and the images have to do with a vibration of love, and which is the opposite of violence and hate. And I think that you should be playing this all day long, from here until after the election, in order to change energies that could take us down. We may never know ultimately who's behind the bad stuff, even though I think you all are already excuse me, I got the hiccups, suspecting that the bad guys are being helped by off-planet stuff. It's not news, but it may be more, people may be more accepting of it. But there are dark energies there that are not necessarily political people or business people. And if the vibration of the country is kind of okay, then it doesn't matter what they do, because then the law of attraction doesn't kick in. But if we have such a low vibration, which we do, look at me. This is 8 minutes into the chat, 12 minutes, and I haven't really given you the information I wanted. I was too busy talking about the negativity that I'm dealing with. So if the vibration of the United States can be lifted, then the dark stuff kind of falls off because of the law of attraction, which is the law of magnetic resonance. So we have to raise our vibration, or if not, the particular set of bad guys we could be dealing with, me and my own personal life, there's a new set, because it's a frequency. Got it, got it, got it, got it. It's a frequency. So there's the link. And it's Mantrista music. It's Medusas. They're pink. They're pretty. And wherever you play it, you're going to be augmenting the frequency of love. So your home, your office. It is on Spotify? Yes, Spotify. Okay, so I did the family gossip, the poisonings, and the potential kidnapping. And we're going to go to the hurricane. So I have some notes, because I think I'm freaking out. I think I'm frightened beyond belief. And you go, but look how great stuff is going. Yeah, and what happens when things are going so great is that the bad guys have to up the ante. So this hurricane has been the most fascinating thing. We have gotten together, I think, 5 times. The Mantrista movement, in Spanish, I'm sorry. But it's not a kindergarten class. So if you don't actually believe that there's consciousness in catastrophes, if you don't know yet that catastrophes are purifications, then we can't work together in those things, because you don't have the basics. So you need to trolley on quickly. The one thing I will tell you that I learned with the work that we did and are doing was that the elements, everything on planet Earth has to do with the balance of the elements. So when you have a lack of balance of the elements, you have a problem. You're going to get sick. The planet's going to get sick. But that same balance of the elements applies to hurricanes. Hurricanes have consciousness. They're a force. They're focused force with a consciousness and an intention. And until relatively recently, hurricanes were for purifications. Now it turns out they can be weaponized. So we were like scratching our heads. And I think I need to put this up as an article on my website because it's many graphics of before and after. That's a blank page. Great. Have me look good. I'll just show you this. This was yesterday night at 9:45, and we had done an hour and a half of mantras. And there was some darkness here. There's something going on here in the country. And this was creativity. This was great. We had worked great. And then we said, we're going to go to sleep now and find out what happens. Not a happy face. So whatever it is that went on with the hurricane, whatever it is that's going on here, they were not happy. They were, oh, actually, this was before we started to work at 8:15. There was something going on here. This word rabieta means rage. Whoever, whatever was here was in a rage. And then when we finished the work, not a happy face. So catastrophes are purifications that come in because something is really, the elements are out of balance due to human behavior, whatever. So they come in to correct the elements. So the first night we started working with the catastrophe, with the hurricane, we drew the United States and there was too much red. And it had a lot to do with Trump and Elon. Interesting. So we worked on reducing the fire because the hurricane, which is water and air, would come to put out the fire. And then I said, and I think I said it here, and guys, you have to find a way to reduce your frustration. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You have to reduce your frustrations. Okay. We got that cleared. And then I realized Florida no longer is full of red, which is law of attraction, which is too much fire. Therefore, the hurricane has to come to put out the fire, but we don't have fire and the hurricane is still coming. Is it maybe not coming? It's coming. Okay? Okay? So, I thought, what do we do here? And then, and I'm not sure what the sequence was in my head, but what we did was we started using crystals. Now, crystals is earth energy. And we've got wind, air, and we got water coming at Florida. So we use crystals, which is earth. So if you've got water and you put a lot of crystals, stones, mountains in it, it stops the flow of water. I'm not sure how much it does to air. And that's when we had to keep changing stuff because the hurricane kept changing. And then that's what the last thing that we did, and then it calmed down. And then, thank you, Teresa, for being supportive. My biggest protection is to say the name of a person who the government is still protecting. And then another person that I think could know a lot about this situation. And I have a ton of photographs of people that have followed me, and I don't have them. Other people do. So I think these guys are going to give up. But anyway, so I'm going to show you a picture, a graphic, whatever. My language is shot because of the level of stress. Look at this. This was 2003. There were 3 hurricanes that went through Florida. Now, normally, I've been here 50 years, 60 years in Miami. It's South Florida that gets hit. We don't get hit anymore. Apparently, we don't need to be purified. That's sweet. But look, they all intersect there. 27 and 17. Now, this hurricane came in below Sarasota, but I haven't been able to get, I'm sorry, I'm inadequate having to do with this type of thing. Anything that has to do with graphics, and I'm I have a problem with it. So I need to see where it is that Milton, we know where it came in, which was underneath Sarasota, which is pretty near that green line, but I don't know where it is that it actually went up. But I have to tell you, I think some people need to start investigating what could possibly be there, that it needed three hurricanes and maybe a fourth if I could get a map to where I could see the route of what happened to Milton. And I'm sure that map, there's 1,000 of them, but it's some of that type of stuff is beyond my abilities, because I have some kind of, probably called a learning disability. So, contrary to a normal situation where you have a natural catastrophe, you have a hurricane on its way someplace, and you negotiate with the consciousness of the hurricane, you talk to it, you figure it out. This kept changing. It was like, and it was like, and I every time we would finish, it felt like we had done a really good job, and maybe there wasn't a need anymore, whatever. We work from spirits underneath the ground. Yeah, you don't even know there's spirits that live under the ground, entire civilizations. Well, I didn't believe that either. But I guess this is going to be a lot for you all at once, but whatever. We worked through it. There was a wall put up, a Higgs field, whatever. And then the next morning, it kept going. And I was like, this is, and we kept going because you know what? We kept going. And we did achieve a lot. And we're very pleased with ourselves, and you don't have to accept that we made a difference. That's okay. Um, but do it enough times, and you're going to have to revise your belief system. And you should really trolley along and revise it really quick because your belief system isn't working. It's not explaining anything. It's beyond belief what we have lived. So, if you have a tragedy or a catastrophe in your life, it's because you need it. So, if this country is going through a living hell, it's because we needed it. Today on X, which is where I get my news, some lady was being interviewed by Joe Rogan, I think, and she was saying that medical doctors do not have to take a single course in nutrition. Now, no wonder I couldn't get help from anybody. No wonder this country hasn't made any sense. You have a physical body that can only keep going because of food. And the people who take care of it do not have to learn about nutrition. In what universe does that make sense? Is this only planet Earth we're going to be totally humiliated? Give me a break. How did we get here? I know how we got here, but I can't tell you because that's a big conspiracy. But you need to start asking, how did we get here? How did we get so dumb? Okay. I think I'm going to look at my maps a second to see if there was anything extraordinary that we drew that I can show you that's not going to get me into trouble. Okay, the first thing we had to take care of, there was a black magic on Florida, which I think I showed you, but that was not the first day. No. No, nothing else here that you need to see. It's a process. Oh, the work that we did for the first time in the map, there's green at the bottom rather than red. So something really big shifted. I believe it would appear that a portal was opened yesterday. And we may have been partially responsible for that, the work that we were doing, but it doesn't really matter who was. And I believe that after yesterday, after this hurricane, there's going to be an even deeper divide within people. And there's going to be, your life is either going to start trolleying on up to much better, or you're going to start taking a nosedive into much worse. I don't think there's going to be a lot of middle ground. I think we crossed another line to where you either have a resonance with truth or you don't. And the or you don't means that your choices are going to increasingly backfire. You have to make choices aligned with the group of people, no, with the frequency, the movement, the whatever, the values, the qualities that are going up, having nothing to do with money or material things. So I'm going to put on the video that we used last night, which has all these crystals, and you've heard the composition by Mateo Cuaron before, but I had it with a black screen. We finally got the video in time for our work last night. And this video is the one that we used to add the earth element to Florida so that the hurricane, which is water and air, would not hit us badly. But we didn't put it on Florida. We were working before the hurricane hit, and we were working with the hurricane. So we put it in the hurricane. These huge crystals, all of this with the crystals on the screen, this video you're going to see now, and then mentally. And then mentally, a lot of the mantristas were creating huge mountain-sized crystals because you see, your mind creates reality, and eventually, in the other dimensions, non-physical, eventually it rolls into the physical. So whatever you create in your mind still has an influence, even if it's not, doesn't have its presence yet felt on the physical dimension. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to quit talking, and we're going to do a mantra. But I think we need to pay it. Oh, darn. You need to play the mantra music that's for the United States, because I think something is going to happen, or there's a movement. What did the Florida governor say? Because I missed that. Oh, the miracle. Oh, wait, thank you. The second day that we worked on the hurricane, I was like, okay, something's going on here. So I said, listen, we're just going to have to go and work with the creation laws. So we have to jump to Friday the 11th, which is tomorrow. I said, everybody do it, and tell everybody that you know to do this. You visualize that on Friday at 12 noon, you are saying to somebody, wow, isn't it a miracle what happened with Milton? And apparently the governor said that. That was the visual. I'm not saying he's saying it because we said it. I'm saying that when I realized that there was something weird going on and we were going to have to work at a different level or a different angle, the visualization is what we set up. And that would have been 2 days ago. And it was, and I said, because this is what I was taught years ago, you get this image, you create in your mind an image, and with what you want to be a reality then, which would have been for tomorrow at 12. And with, you visualize the kind of clothes that you have that you could be wearing, and you're talking to somebody, so it's somebody that you know and that you would talk to. As many elements that are as real as possible. In other words, you hang on to and grab onto stuff that's real, that exists, and within all of that, you weave in what you're looking for. So creative visualization. And I only went to it as an act of desperation, because I have a very hard time, and it hasn't been until recently that I can actually see anything in my head. And you're going to go, but you're a remote viewer. Yes, I perceive, but I don't see. In other words, even today, if I close my eyes, I cannot visualize my face, or the face of my children, or the face of my house, or my hand. I cannot see it, thanks to the government. So for me, the reason I'm saying this is not for another complaint, but for me, visualization is like a last resort. But we were at the point of last resort because the stuff that should have been working wasn't working. So we're going to go ahead and do the new Mantrista music video, and we are going to do the mantra about being a master. See, a master can work with the elements. You can work with the elements, and you're not working with the elements because you don't know that you're a master, because your mastery is in your third eye, and it wasn't really available fully until it was supposed to be the 60s. But then the people that kind of protect this planet looked at us because of the bombs that we threw after the Second World War, because the war, from what I understand, was over. And they said, we're not giving these people superpowers yet. They're not ready. We were supposed to have it in the 60s, which kind of makes sense, starting at the age of Aquarius. But it's available now, and it's in your third eye. So let's get enough fluoride into your third eye so that you basically desiccate it. But if you happen to see stuff, let's say then that the people that see, like little kids or people like me, they're crazy. And that should take care of it. And it did. So we need for you to claim your mastery. It's yours. You don't need it from me. You don't need it from anybody. It's inside of you in your third eye. Stop putting Botox on your forehead because it interrupts the energy lines. Okay? Stop doing weird stuff to your head, like putting microwave next to it. Why would you put not microwave next to your head? Because you're on a cell phone and it radiates microwave. Ah. Okay. So, even though I'm afraid to be a master, I'm sorry if I'm completely overboard today. But I'm two things. I'm ecstatic with everything that's coming out, that's being revealed. I'm ecstatic at the work that we did yesterday. It doesn't matter whether you believe us, we know what we did. And on the other hand, I'm going, I know the bad guys. They don't just sit around waiting and they don't go, oh, we lost this round. No, 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 no. Up the ante. What is it? Which is why I said the thing about these people that have a plan now for poisoning and whatever else, which I'm not going to go into the details, and because they have to up the ante, because they're losing. So, off track again. Even though am I literally trembling? I think I'm trembling from rage. Maybe fear too. And I also can't spell. Okay, here's the mantra. Took me 20 minutes to write it. Okay. Are you trying to sell me something, Casa Olítica? I don't know. And now let's go with the music. And in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it doesn't say deliver us from evil. It says help us to be in the present, which means not to disassociate, which in terms of the elements means you have enough of the earth element. Crystals are earth element. Got it? So this video, which tomorrow should be up 8 hours long, right now I only have the 23-minute version. You should have on a lot at home so that the spirits who cannot tolerate the earth energy that's in the original Lord's Prayer will not find the vibration of your home or your office or even your car. They won't find it pleasant. They won't be able to be there because of the law of attraction. Okay, so here we're going to do 10 minutes and here we go. Okay. How do you feel? I'm more relaxed. Did you see the color of the dress? How much shinier it is? How much more white? By the way, conspiracy, I'm going to keep complaining. What the heck? This is my chat, my podcast, right? The conspiracy reaches the level of I did a change of address. I paid a company that puts in the change of address. I got mail for 3 days. I got no more mail. I went to the old place because I have access to the mailbox because the place belongs to a family member. No mail. So I went to the post office, Coral Gables, Florida, and I said, "Where's my mail? We don't have any mail." Well, it's forwarding. There's no forward order. Okay, 1 month, no mail. That's how I went to the bank thing because I got my statements through the mail because I'm old. Okay, I'm not that comfortable on the computer with stuff like that. I prefer it on my hands. Okay, no mail. So he says, the guy at the Coral Gables post office, the head of it, well, we're going to put in the order change, which is not in the system. And I have a document from the company that I paid. They sent it to me to my new address and said, here's the proof that this was changed, whatever. And we will send you something, and then you come and let us know that you got it, and then you have the change of address. Well, you know what? They can't send me anything because I'm still not getting mail. So for 30 days, no, longer than 30 days, I have no mail, and the intelligence community in this country has their hand, of course, even in the post office. No mail. We don't know who's sending me stuff and offering me stuff or letting me know about stuff. It's a little bit tiring. It's like, well, I understand. I said for a long time that book by Kafka, Metamorphosis, where the guy feels like he's a cockroach and nobody can see him, or like the Jews in the Second World War. Everybody else is walking around like everything's fine. It's not fine for a lot of us. It looks like it's going to be fine in the future, but it's not fine. We're supposed to be a collective, and we're not a collective. And you know how people get away with it? Oh, I don't really believe it. That's not possible. Next. Don't do that. Listen to your instincts, develop. your intelligence of the heart, not the head. Got it? And you will be able to keep yourself out of trouble. Okay, that's it. I talked enough. I complained enough. I talked about myself. And you know what? It's okay. Bye.